Morning peeps, good morning everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. Alright, let's have a look and see what there is. Let's start here. WBO orders Terence Crawford to face Sebastian Fundora. Let's be honest, they can't order shit. Like, can they? When was the last time they ordered Canelo to do anything? When was the last time the WBO were like, Canelo, this is your mandatory. You've got 30 days to negotiate or we're taking that belt away. When was the last time? I can't remember, ever. WBA? WBC. I mean, the only ones that seem to have any backbone is the IBF. Like, they're the only ones that seem to enforce stuff. So, look, I mean, it's all well and good them ordering it, but it's up to Terence Crawford if he wants to fight Sebastian Fundora. Look, it's the fight that makes sense, I guess, in the division. Obviously, Terence Crawford, we know who he wants, and we know who Turkey wants, but ultimately, it doesn't look like that fight's going to happen. So if Terence Crawford's going to continue to fight at 154 pounds, there aren't that many really big options. I mean, there is Virgil Ortiz, but after Virgil's last performance, I kind of wonder if they're going to pause on that. So yeah, Sebastian Fundora, who's got, I think, 2 belts, if I'm correct, WBC and I think the WBA. Could be wrong on that. But look, Sebastian Fundora wanted the Errol Spence fight. I don't know what Errol's doing. It's got to the point where I'll be surprised if we see Errol in a ring again. So yeah, this fight makes sense. But in terms of them ordering, yeah, good luck. Canelo Alvarez, I'm not saying Terence Crawford fight can't happen. Okay. There you go. Let's see. Look, once Terence Crawford gets past, Canelo gets past Edgar Berlanga, then Crawford's name has to be an option. Crawford, I don't know who else, to be honest. Eubank Jr., Mbili, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe. So we'll see what happens. Caleb Plant says he's worthy of Canelo Alvarez rematch. I don't beg for fights. Worthy of it? Like, what have you done to be worthy of the rematch? No, I don't understand. Unless I've missed something. Look, I think Caleb Plant's a really good, solid 168 pounder. Caleb Plant's probably a top 5 168 pounder. I mean, he's solid. He's going to give good rounds to anyone. Like, his fight against Benavidez was good. He didn't get blown out, did he? It was good. I think one of the scorecards had it quite close as well. Like, I think one of the scorecards was either 116, 112 or 115, 113. So he's a solid 168 pounder. But he hasn't done any work in between the Canelo fight to get the Canelo fight again. Like, there needs to be a bit more of it. I do want to quickly talk about the main event for October 12th, because I've noticed, and this needs to stop, I've noticed now people just solely focusing on the undercard fights. And look, it's a good undercard, but let's not do this. We did this with the 5 versus 5, Frank versus Eddie, and everyone forgot about what we're going to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia for, what we're going to focus on. And that, for me, and has always been, the undisputed light heavyweight title fight between Bivol and Beterbiev. Like, that is such a special fight, and I don't want it to get lost again. I don't want it to get lost in the Cordina Shakur talk, or the Fraser Clark versus Fabio Wardley, or Ben Whittaker being on the card. Look, again, decent undercard, but the main event is what this is all about for me, because we have the 2 best light heavyweights on the planet. We're talking about this fight cementing who is the best light heavyweight of this generation, and cementing who is one of the best light heavyweights of all time. Like, once you become undisputed as an unbeaten fighter as well, you are in that discussion as one of the best 175 pounders of all time. Fact, right? I was thinking, you guys know I'm Team Bivol, but I was thinking, who wins this fight? Who wins this fight? I've seen a lot of podcast and YouTube videos recently, and I think a lot of people are now firmly in the camp of Beterbiev wins. And I fully understand that 20 fights, 20 wins, 20 knockouts, right? And yes, he's 39, going to be 40 in January. But he's one of those people, if there's a way he could be plugged into a machine and say, okay, how old is this guy? He would be early 30s. This guy doesn't drink, lives the life, doesn't smoke, doesn't party, doesn't do any of that shit. And when you watch him train, he's a machine. Now, when I think of, okay, what is a machine? I think Beterbiev, more than any other boxer in recent years. He just looks like a machine. I've interviewed him. His hands are fucking enormous. His grip. He does all this crazy stuff. Like any other fighter coming off the injuries that he's had in recent years, again, approaching 40, you're like, his time's up. His time's up. He's washed. But we don't apply that to Beterbiev. just because I think we all believe what I just said. This guy is a machine, honestly. You know, I was thinking about his resume and his run, and I mean, he's beaten a who's who in the 175 pound division, a who's who. I mean, you go back to when he was 5-0 or 6-0, beating Tavares Cloud, who at the time I think had just lost, but was an former IBF champion, light heavyweight champion, beat Tavares Cloud, beat Joe Smith. And he's not beating them, he's breaking them down. He's breaking them down. Callum Johnson had the nerve to hit him hard and make Beterbiev go down, got up, broke him. Marcus Brown broke him. Joe Smith tried to have a firefight with him, destroyed. Vosdick was doing well. Olympic gold medalist was doing well. WBC champion, had just beaten Adonis Stevenson, was doing well. Beterbiev just got to him. Yard was doing well, got to him. Callum Smith one is the interesting one. Callum Smith one was the one where I was like, okay, this guy is still a machine. Because again, up until that point, people were like, yeah, coming off an injury, because he was. At the time, I think he was either 38 or just had turned 39. And I think a lot of people were like, okay, Callum Smith is the real deal, which I still think he is, by the way. By the way, what is going on with Callum Smith? Wait, like, what's happening? But anyway, look, I think some, not me, the receipts are there. Some said that Callum Smith was going to go to Canada and maybe take those titles from Beterbiev. Like, some people were really talking that Beterbiev destroyed him. And that's when I was like, okay, this motherfucker is like he's the real deal. Like the real deal. And I've always thought he was, but that kind of cemented it for me, rubber stamped it. And then there's Dmitry Bivol, who I think, in terms of just watching a boxer, I think he's poetry in motion. Like, I think he's beautiful to watch. Like, when I just watch him, even when he's just hitting the bag or doing the pad work, that thing he does where he just kind of just in and out, and it's perfect. Honestly, it's fucking perfect. So you have someone in Beterbiev that will just break you down. And by the way, Beterbiev can box as well. Go and look at the amateur record. He's got a lot of boxing ability there. But you've got someone that will break you down, and we've got someone that just is poetry in motion when they box and they're going to meet. Honestly, it's going to be sensational, I think. It's going to be sensational. As much as reeled off Beterbiev's wins, obviously, Bivol's wins aren't the same. He doesn't have that standout like resume like Beterbiev does. Obviously, the big one is Canelo. And don't sleep on that Canelo one, by the way. I know there's a lot of talk of, oh yeah, but Canelo was a smaller guy coming up to 175. Going into that fight, and I always do this, let's remember the conversation going into it. It was almost a foregone conclusion that Canelo was going to win. Not for me, but Canelo was going to win, foregone conclusion. Bivol's going to basically the backyard of Canelo, right, in Vegas. You're not going to win on the scorecards unless you knock him out. That was the conversation. He shut Canelo down from the very first round. He just shut him down. All of Canelo's tools and weapons, he disarmed him. Like, no, that ain't going to work. No. Oh, that thing you do when you hit people in the arm ain't working. Not today, sir. Shut him down. That you can't sleep on that performance. That was so good. Again, to do that to Canelo, who, by the way, was on a run. Canelo leading up. It wasn't like this was a Canelo that was coming off a bad performance. This is a Canelo that in the lead up to that fight was on a run. Was breaking people down. Ran into Bivol, and Bivol was like, no. We're not doing this. You want to have a slugfest? We're not doing it. We're going to have a boxing match, and I'm a better boxer than you. I'm going to show you, and he did. And even when they started to kind of fight in the pocket, Bivol had the better success rate in it, which might be key, by the way, because there's going to be a time where Bivol has to fight in the pocket with Beterbiev. And then let's not sleep on the Gilberto Ramirez fight, Zurdo. Again, Zurdo unbeaten. Zurdo enormous for 175, hence why he's now either a world champion or going to be a world... No, he's a world champion, right, in the cruiserweight division. So those are his two big wins. Again, they don't compare to Beterbiev's wins, but you got to look at the performances in both of those wins. And I think you've got to look at the performance last time out. Look, it wasn't an opponent of any note, although I think that kid can do some stuff. It was just a case of Bivol's always been accused of not going through the gears enough, like making it comfortable. Like Lyndon Arthur, it was kind of like, okay, what are you doing, Bivol? Like, come on, do something. And finally, Bivol went through the gears a bit. Went through the gears, got the knockout he needed. So, okay, we know there's punch power there as well. So it's interesting. One thing I do like about Bivol, and you know I'm going Bivol, he's my guy. One thing I do like about Bivol is activity. Like, Bivol's been a bit active of recent. Obviously, we can't say the same thing about Beterbiev, but this is a tough fight. It's a pick 'em fight, as it should be. We're talking about, again, I just said it at the top, we're talking about the crown to be, again, not just considered number one now, fact, but we're talking about the crown to be in the discussion as the best light heavyweight of all time. That's what this fight is about. That's what it's about. Two Russians duking it out, two completely different styles, both from the same school, the old amateur Russian system. Can't wait. Honestly, can't wait. And let's not focus. And look, let's focus on the undercard, but let's not put the undercard above what this is. But this is incredible. For me, this is, of all the undisputed fights we've had in recent years, this is the one that I'm like, man. They've all been good. Spence, Crawford, fantastic. Fury, Usyk, fantastic. This one, we've had some good ones. Inoue, Fulton, maybe expected a bit more, but we've had some good ones. But this, for me, is the one. This has been, for me, the one. Like, oh, shit. Just because of the styles of the fighters as well. Like, this has been the one for me. Like, there's no excuse. There's no, oh, you're a bit damaged. You're past your best. And there's nothing. This is it. Can't wait. What else we got here? 2 secs, guys. Just gonna see if there's any 10 reasons why Jake Paul will beat Mike Tyson. I can't believe this fight's going ahead. I still can't believe it. Like, this is Mike that wasn't fit enough. I don't know if that image was an old one, but Mike in a wheelchair 2-3 months ago. Like, what are we doing? Mike is 58 years old. 58 years old. Like, I was fooled. Mike, you got me. I was fooled 4 years ago. In fact, it was 5 years ago. They fought 4 years ago. But it was 5 years ago when Mike started putting out these clips of him smashing the pads. I was like, oh my fucking God, Mike's back. Mike was 53 then. And then he got a fight against Roy. And I was like, okay, we're going to see something here. Roy was playing with Mike. Playing with him. Mike, literally, in that fight, gave you like 30 seconds and that was it. That's all he had. That's all he had. And those clips made... Now, all of a sudden, these new clips have started emerging of him doing things, right? And look, if he couldn't do it 4 years ago, he ain't doing it now. Like, what are we doing? Like, why is a young, healthy, big, strong Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson? Like, I'm all for this Jake Paul thing, by the way. Good luck to him. I mean, Jake Paul, I like the way he's just knuckled down and he's committing to fighting. I love that, right? Just fight. Pick other people. Like, pick people. Like, the Tommy Fury types. Why are you picking on a near 60-year-old man who has health problems, who even walks with a limp? What are we doing? Hate it. Honestly, hate it. But I will say this. My only happiness for it going ahead is that the undercard fighters get paid. Amanda Serrano will get paid, Katie Taylor will get paid, and whoever else is on the undercard as well, they're going to get paid. It's on Netflix. It's going to be watched by millions and millions. It'll be the most watched fight of all time, I'm guessing. So good luck to all of them. But yeah, I don't like it. Eddie Hearn still talking to make Boots Ennis Brian Norman Jr. I saw a video of Brian Norman's dad talking about it. I'm guessing it's Brian Norman Sr. Talking about it, saying they got an offer. They didn't like the money on the offer, and they've kind of been waiting for a new offer to present itself, which it hasn't as yet. So we'll see if that fight's happened. Look, it's kind of the fight to make. I mean, there are other fights, unification fights, but I don't mind this one. Brian Norman's going to come to fight. He will. And that could make it a better spectacle because then Boots will probably light him up. All right, final one. Chef Clark aiming to win the crowd ahead of Diego Pacheco. Selecki fight. Yeah, Chef Clark is on that card. Good. Happy to see him. Happy for the American audience to see what Chev's about. I think Chev's a really good fighter. Last time out beat Ellis Zorro. He wasn't happy with that performance. I've spoken to him a few times about it. I thought it was good. It was a solid performance. I love the finish. Don't know if you guys saw it. The finish where he went, kind of went, like the way he kind of approached Ellis Zorro, kind of fainted, bang. Ow. I love the finish on that. So, look, let's hope Chev can get the knockout. Chev is a really interesting addition to the cruiserweight division, like really interesting. Like, it's going to get to a point, I think, where you just go with Chev. I think Chev's like 34. Let's quick look. So there isn't that long build-up process with him. Unfortunately, you've only just got to go. 33, 34 in December. You might just have to pull the trigger on him. And I'm like, Chris Billam-Smith, like now, if he comes through, can you make a Chris Billam-Smith fight? Like, who's Billam-Smith going to fight next, really? It's not going to be Upper Tire. We know that now. So could Chev kind of jump the queue and you just make it? Could that happen? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, good luck. Like, I wonder if Chev, I wonder if Shev comes through this healthy quickly. Again, some of you might say he's not ready for Billam Smith. I think he is. I think he could fight Billam Smith tomorrow. I wonder if he could quickly fight Billam Smith on the Fury Usyk undercard. Just wonder. What are we, August? It's going to be tight. September, October, November. He'll do it. He'll do it. If he comes through this one unscathed, he'll do it. All right, anyway, guys, girls, got a dash. Peace.